the Galaxy A8 Plus. This is a very interesting offering from Samsung, especially if you're someone who values branding, if you want to buy a Samsung phone in this segment. But how does the A8 Plus compare to arguably the best phone in this segment, the OnePlus 5T? Are specs everything, or is there more to this comparison than meets the eye? Well, that's what we're here to find out. But before we get to it, if this is your first time here, or in case you're too lost in Samsung's Galaxies to remember, my name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech. And if you do end up liking this comparison, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications. By the way, here's a card to our latest giveaway. Check it out if you haven't yet. So as is tradition here on C4E Tech, let's start with the build and design. First, the OnePlus 5T. 2017 was the year of 18:9 displays, and the 5T is OnePlus showing up to play. Well, the USP is the display, what's surrounding it isn't all that bad. It's a metal body build with curves at the sides to the back, and that kinda makes it quite ergonomic. The back is still slippery of course given all the metal, but the in-hand feel, that's quite nice. At 160 grams, it is quite light too. The A8 Plus on the other hand is more reminiscent of mainstream flagships from 2017. Now the iPhone 8 and 10, the Galaxy S8 and Note 8, the LG V30, what do they all have in common? A sandwich glass design. And that's what Samsung's gone with here. The end result? A lot of fingerprints. Okay, just kidding. Not really, the fingerprints are real, but the end result is also a phone that looks and feels very premium. I dare say it looks better than the OnePlus 5T. The 5T has the ever so handy alert slider. It also happens to be slimmer, shorter, narrower, and even a whole 30 grams lighter than the A8 Plus. Additionally, OnePlus gets points for having quite a few readily available color options to choose from. Samsung hits right back with IP68 water and dust resistance. So overall, when it comes to build and design, I definitely find the 5T more practical given its overall smaller footprint, ergonomics, and wide array of options, but the A8 Plus is hard to ignore given the more premium design and IP68 rating. So I'm gonna call this a tie and leave it to you guys to make a choice on what you like better. Here's a poll, let us know. Now we move on to display, and again there's hardly anything between these two. The OnePlus 5T sports a 6.01-inch optic AMOLED panel, which is actually a Samsung manufactured Super AMOLED panel with OnePlus software tweaks on. The A8 Plus, on the other hand, also utilizes a Samsung manufactured Super AMOLED panel with a slightly different aspect ratio though, 18.5:9 compared to 18:9 on the 5T. Both panels are Full HD Plus, but due to the different aspect ratios, the panel on the A8 Plus is marginally sharper by about 10 pixels per inch. That's just in theory, because in reality there is no perceivable difference in sharpness. They are equally sharp, leading to another tie here. And now we move on to what's underneath the hood, and here's where the 5T takes a solid lead. While the A8 Plus is powered by a reliable Exynos 7885 Octa chip, the 5T sports a top-of-the-line Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chip. Great mid-range chip versus a great flagship chip. You know how this goes, right? You know what wins, as evident by our speed test results. That's it, the performance gap between mid-range and flagship chips have been shrinking in recent years, and this is further evidence. Yes, the 5T wins, but with day-to-day usage, you aren't gonna find the A8 Plus slow. It is gonna keep everything chugging along quite nicely. App launch speeds, multitasking given its 6 gigs of RAM, just like the lower-end variant of the 5T. The 5T does have an 8 gig RAM option, but the A8 Plus hits right back with support for dedicated microSD. Or rather, a dedicated microSD card slot, apart from its 64 gigs of storage. Now, despite all that, when it comes to specs, thanks to that flagship, top-of-the-line internals, the OnePlus 5T does take this one. Now, big display, strong specs, what about battery life? Well, advantage Samsung here, the A8 Plus sports a 3500 mAh battery compared to the 3300 mAh battery on the OnePlus 5T. The weaker chip inside the A8 Plus means its power requirements are lower and it manages to last longer than the 5T, about 20% longer at times. While both phones had no issues getting me through a day of low to moderate usage on a single charge, it's days where my usage was quite heavy that I appreciated the A8 Plus. Here's where OnePlus's dash charging comes into play. Yes, the A8 Plus has support for adaptive fast charging, but the 5T can be charged much faster than the A8 Plus. But that said, thanks to the longer lasting battery, I'm gonna have to give this round to the Galaxy A8 Plus. Next up, let's move on to the cameras. The Galaxy A8 Plus sports a 16 megapixel f1.7 camera with a relatively large 1x2.8 inch sensor. The 5T has an eerily similar unit, a 1x2.8 inch sensor, which means the sensor size is the same, 16 megapixels, the pixel count is the same. The lens too has an equally wide f1.7 aperture. That said, the 5T has an additional 20 megapixel f1.7 camera for enhanced low-light images, and it shows. In most situations under low light, the 5T managed to capture brighter and sharper images than the A8 Plus. In this image of the tree, the leaves are barely visible on the image shot with the A8 Plus. In moderately lit conditions like this, the A8 Plus did come close, but there is some sort of weird software processing that's going on to reduce noise, which actually ended up smudging things up on the A8 Plus. Look at this comparison. The wall around the window looks very clean on the image shot with the A8 Plus, but it actually isn't. The 5T represents it perfectly. Under well-lit conditions, both cameras performed well. The A8 Plus did shoot images that turned out to be a little cooler. Look at this example. The 5T's color reproduction was a lot more natural. The A8 Plus also had a tendency to oversaturate colors. While that might not necessarily be a negative at all times, sometimes when the scene itself has eye-popping colors like this instance, the oversaturation did make it look kinda bad. The dynamic range too was marginally better on the images shot with the 5T. The sharpness and the level of detail were more or less similar. Additionally, the 5T has a portrait mode. This is where the subject is in focus and the background is blurred to replicate the shallow depth of field you often find when shooting with the DSLR. The A8 Plus does not have this feature, with the rear camera at least. And here's the twist. With the front camera, the A8 Plus has a secondary 8 megapixel unit to go along with the primary 16 megapixel sensor. The OnePlus 5T has only a single 16 megapixel shooter up front. This means the A8 Plus lets you shoot live focus shots, kinda like the portrait mode we just saw, but with the cameras on the front. The implementation is well done, and here Samsung lets you adjust the amount of blur before or even after the shot, similar to what you could do with the rear camera of phones like the Note 8. Even with regular selfies, the A8 Plus did shoot sharper images and managed to reproduce skin tones a lot more naturally, but the 5T offered a tad better dynamic range. With video, the OnePlus 5T can shoot 4K videos at 30 frames per second, while the A8 Plus is limited to just 1080, and 1080p on a 33K phone is kind of unacceptable. That said, both phones do have support for EIS and they perform almost equally well with regards to stability. When it comes to the quality of the footage itself, the 5T and the Galaxy A8 Plus are, well, galaxies apart. 4K versus 1080p, that's a huge difference in sharpness right there. The footage shot with the 5T has much better dynamic range and detail. So overall, for the rear camera and videos, I'm gonna go with the 5T, while the A8 Plus did shine when it came to selfies. So the camera round does go to the OnePlus 5T. Next, let's move on to software. Now both phones are running on Android 7.1 Nougat, but the Oreo update is just around the corner for the OnePlus 5T. The A8 Plus will also receive Oreo, but it is gonna take a little longer. It is also worth noting that OnePlus usually has a 2-update policy, so the 5T is assured of a P update, while it's hard to see Samsung providing a second major update to a A series phone. I honestly don't recall Samsung doing that anytime in the past. If I'm missing something, let me know. If you do know of a A series phone that received 2 major updates, so let me know via the comments below. Anyway, update stories aside, the user interface on both phones are vastly different. The A8 Plus has Samsung Experience skin, and that's got a lot more features, but it is also a little heavier. It's got quite a few nice features like secure folder, games mode, one-handed mode, as well as dual messenger to run 2 instances of the same app. The standout feature here though is Samsung Pay, which lets you leave your wallet at home and pay with your A8 Plus anywhere, any place where a credit or debit card is accepted. On the other hand, the 5T comes with Oxygen OS. While it's a little light on the features, it is also an interface that's known for its speed. The user experience is awesome here, the 5T just flies. Just like Samsung, there is support for Face Unlock, OnePlus scanner implementation. It's faster than on the A8 Plus. The fingerprint scanner as well, talking about fast. It is also extremely fast on the 5T, much faster and even a little bit more accurate than the one found on the A8 Plus. So while this software experience picking between both, while it kind of boils down to personal preference, me personally, as tempted as I am to side with Samsung just for Samsung Pay, which I particularly adore, I'm gonna give this to OnePlus again. The 5T wins for its light and snappy Oxygen OS. And now with that, we get to the price. Only the 664 variant of the A8 Plus is on sale in India, and it is priced at 33,000 rupees. That's about $520 for my international viewers. The 664 variant of the OnePlus 5T is priced the same as well. So if brand value is important to you, if the IP68 rating matters, if selfie cameras are high on your list of priorities, and you don't mind the subpar video camera performance and weaker internals, meaning an occasional frame drop here and there with regards to games, the A8 Plus might be the one for you. But if you want the best bang for your buck, if performance and user experience are high on your list of priorities, if you want excellent rear cameras, the portrait mode, if you're okay taking a small hit on battery life and living without Samsung Pay, then the OnePlus 5T is the one you should buy, as long as you're okay with not going with a tier 1 brand. It is definitely the better value for money. So there you have it, my 2 cents on the Galaxy A8 Plus versus the 5T. Do you agree with what I've had to say in this video? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So what is your pick? Again, let us know with a hashtag Team A8 Plus or a hashtag Team 5T in the comments. So that's it for this video. If you hated it, by now I'm sure you know what to do. But if you did like it, turn that into a thumbs up, subscribe, and also turn on notifications so that you get notified every time we post a video like this. Till next time, my name's Ash, you've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.